Welcome everybody to Two Man Power Trip, the Black Man Starting a Nerd Lifestyle. I'm Nicholas, Mr. Go with the Flow.
And I'm the man with the plan, Maurice.
And we're back with another edition of the Blerd By Nature Podcast. What's up, co-host?
What's good, bro? What's good?
Big Zilla and the 5'3" Illa from Tokyo. Black Anime Podcast number 202 in the building. Let's talk about it. We are here. What's up?
I'm ready to go back to Tokyo.
That's an understatement, bro. That's an understatement. But on that note, let's get into some vibe, guys. Let's talk about the work week, the week, and the weekend. What's up, co-host?
Nah, the weekend was good. The holiday was nice. I got to chill with you a bit on Monday.
Yeah. Good
talk
chat.
about life and shit. Yeah, shit.
Man. Yep.
This work week, man, I'm tired. I'm over it.
Man, if there was ever a day for me to chat on, it's been a minute since you heard some work drama from me, and I was hyping this up from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So man,
well, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, today was the bullshit. So we've been. The last time I chatted with you, and it's been a while we chatted about this, but like I was supposed to move over back to my other office, right?
For the company.
So shit finally happened. So nobody told me that they were moving everybody's stuff over to the office yesterday. So I was in there the whole time. Nobody said a word. Nobody said nothing, and everybody. I walk in this morning and I talk to my old supervisor, and everybody's back to our other rooms and stuff like that. I talk to them, and then the first thing I hear when I walk in the door is, "How come you didn't pack? Everybody shifted over." Because I went back into the other office. All the other offices are empty except for mine. Mine still got a whole bunch of shit up in there. So they was talking to me. They was like, "Oh, why didn't you pack up your stuff?" Nobody told me. They were like, "Maintenance told you." Nobody told me. They said, "Milton, the guy that's in there, he said he told you." And I'm like, the last time he came to my office, he looked around to see if there was a fire extinguisher in there. That is the last thing he said. Nobody said anything, but everybody's out of their room. So guess what? I'm running back and forth trying to figure out what the hell to do, because I gotta start up my shit in the morning. There's people coming. I told the patient to come early in the morning so they can pay for their dungeons and shit like that. But now I can't do all of that because in the midst of that, I'm waiting for my actual supervisor to come in so I could call that person, and then we could and then I could figure out what's going on, because they emailing the person, they going back, they chatting and shit like that. So within the next 30 minutes, even though I tried to start whatever I could start, within the first 30 minutes, they was like, "All right, now unplug everything, pack what you can do, and move whatever you can move over." Now I'm already partially packed because this has always been a thing for like the last 2 months or something like that. We was gonna move out, so I didn't have all stuff spread asunder and stuff like that, but I had enough stuff spread out for my work in general. And obviously I did not pack because I did not know of anything. But so I started just throwing stuff into whatever boxes I could frantically. It was a mess and stuff like that, but I was moving stuff out as much as I can. And then eventually we hit to the point where the maintenance guy, because everything was thrown under Sunday, everybody else is trying to fix up their office now that they're in the new space and stuff like that. And they're moving me back to the exact office I was in and stuff like that. So ultimately, I don't know what any of this shit really did for me on the most part, because I went back. What's even doubly funny is because I went back to my old office, and they did not put up the shelves that was already supposed to be drilled in and put up from before. So how am I supposed, like, these are all additional stuff where I'm assuming that shit wasn't done yet, because I was waiting for them shelves since they fixed up the room about, like, I want to say 3 weeks ago. They stopped building in there. So I'm like, all right. So we kept asking. We were like, when they gonna put in the shelves? When they gonna put in the shelves? And everybody's now moved over. So I'm like, so were they gonna ever build in my shelves? Like, what's going on? So my supervisor emailed them at the same time addressing all that stuff. And then I'm going back and forth with them on the phone, and they were like, yeah, so they're telling me that they told you. And I'm like, no, nobody told me. Nobody came to my office and told me that they was moving that day. I talked to people that entire day. Nobody said a word about anything shifting that entire day. So I don't know what the fuck was going on. But all I know is I was shifting as much as I can, shifting whatever out the office until maintenance came around, and they took up my whole desk with all the other stuff on it, because when they moved me over into my office in the first place, I didn't take the computer or the printer or the copier, stuff like that over. They did that. So that was already all on the desk for them to move over. So they came over and they put everything on trolleys and moved that over, which was a big conundrum. And then they had to plug and replug out the wires and stuff like that. So they're trying to fit shit through my small ass door, because I showed you the room from the room prior, which is still a small room, but they trying to maneuver everything in, and they move in my desk to the regular spot. Then they tried to move it to the side, but then they realized I wasn't gonna have enough room for this, or enough room for the filing cabinet that they had to pull in. So they was screwing things into the wall and whatnot. And then at the same time, we got patients coming in trying to ask us about X, Y, and Z. I had this one lady that was waiting there for like the longest time because she came in the morning, but I had no idea that I was going to be shifting and moving and all that stuff. So we had her hold on for a bit. And there was another person after that. It was just a whole catastrophe.
Sounds
because
like a mess.
nothing was going. Like we had it was a swarm. Thursdays are usually busy. So there was like a swarm of patients trying to get shit done. And none of our stuff is like plugged in straight. So like everybody's trying to figure and connect and fix up that stuff. Cash register machine down and shit like that. Like we trying to figure out shit to do all together. I'm walking back and forth for like a solid 30 minutes. I was just walking back with nothing to do because I couldn't do anything. So I was like, all right. So I'm trying to, because I put shit in boxes and shit like that. And I had about like 5 different boxes to fix out and pull shit out from. So this is from like 8:30 I started all the way to about like 11, where it came over to fix up all the stuff by the wall and stuff like that, shift up the cabinet and stuff like that. So I'm figuring out, all right, hopefully everything's back in normal and back in place. We put all the desk and stuff back together, but now we realize my door can't open out no more. And this is me and my supervisor looked at it and we was like, oh, so what we figured at first, we was like, oh, so it seems like they cut my room even smaller to make space for another shit. So I'm further in a closet and stuff like that, and I'm like, all right, so y'all moved me out of my room to cut it smaller. And now I can't even, I could have barely raised out the door from before, and I closed it so nobody hit me now. But now it's even 10 times worse. I can't widen the door out. So if I want to get to the cabinets, I got to definitely close the door to get to the back cabinets, and it can't even push out further. So it'll always hit the desk now and shit like that. So it makes it 10 times worse on that. And it wasn't until I came back from lunch that I realized that, we all realized that it wasn't the room that was shortening. They just widened the door, which I noticed earlier. I was like, why is this door so fucking heavy now? So they even widened the door, and it's even a heavier door, and they reinforced the door and shit like that. I'm like, bro,
why?
I don't know. But now it's wide and it's thicker and it's bigger, and it just makes a bigger mess for me just in general. So yeah, that was so eventually I got things fixed up. My whole room is a mess. They're putting in the shelves. Hopefully by the time I go in tomorrow, the shelves are there. I don't know how fast they can put up shelves, but I guess they're going to put them up. And then I still have to find a way to stick another filing cabinet in there. For some reason. I don't know. I will send you a video tomorrow of how everything goes, but everything is in a super mess because I went from a small room to a smaller room to now a door to a room that can't even close even straighter. So I don't know. It was a struggle for me to get my chair back in there. That's how I knew. I was like, something's wrong here. So that was the whole catastrophe from all the way till like lunchtime. And then the lady I had to talk to from before, she was nice at least. So she came back at 12:30 when I was finishing lunch. On top of that, I had to fast today too. So I couldn't eat anything until after I had to go over to a church session and stuff like that after work and stuff like that. So I didn't eat the entire day. So that was like I didn't know going into today. Today was gonna be rough, but I was already fasting, so I was already hella by lunchtime. Then I went home, didn't eat nothing to come back to this more catastrophe and stuff like that. Then after I finished up with that lady and whoever person was waiting for me, I had to play catch up on all my work after that, and shit was back and forth. Me talking to my mother about that catastrophe, talking to Kenny about that catastrophe. It was just mess after mess trying to talk to people about it because I was upset, they were upset, everybody was upset, and I'm like,
I'm upset.
What the fuck we doing? Because I was like, what? Like nobody could have reinforced or told me or nothing. Like just coming into our office, I was like, and we talked about this shit. I was like, watch them pull the bullshit.
We said it yesterday on Monday. When I saw you.
Said it on Monday. They did it before the vacation, but now this is an absolute catastrophe.
Wow.
Yep, they didn't move a single fucking thing, and I was like, bro, you could have shifted anything here, man. So yeah, that was the mess of today, and it's only gonna be messier when I go in to find the the shelves. I have boxes in the back of my office and stuff like that. Like, I cannot be any more fucking cramped in that place.
I'm getting claustrophobic just thinking about it.
Yeah. Wait till
Do
you see
have
the video,
a window?
man. No.
Oh no.
I haven't had a window since like I want to say 3 offices ago. And the audacity was one of the options is that they were gonna stick me downstairs with some other people. I was like, nah, bro, nah, I'm already away from the sky as it is.
Yeesh.
So yeah, that was all this shit that happened today. I just kept thinking. I was like, yep, that's some drama for the podcast for sure.
That's a lot,
bro. Listen,
oh my.
Listen, I guarantee you, I'd not get paid enough for this entire bullshit.
Wow.
Yep. So that's specifically today on that messy shit. Other than my vibe stuff that's happened this week was me and Kenny went to Coney Island, had a good time. And get like you were saying before, me and you got to chill, got to eat at teriyaki. That was some good stuff. And then we got to chat and stuff like that. We got a room at the end of the month, and just in general, it's just some other bullshit. Like today was categorically like just absolutely what the fuck. Yep. So how was my week in general there?
And what a week it was.
Yep. So on that note, we can move over to the off the cuff discussions of this week. So getting into the off the cuff discussions of this week, I wanted to talk to you about a subject that I've seen come around. It's been chatted about since like Netflix and streaming got their rise just in general. But this is just the idea of TV shows back then in the TV era, TV on like cable and just like series just in general and getting their starts versus TV now through the streaming era. And I want to talk specifically about cancellation. I want to talk about shows that are given time to find their groove to keep it going and become iconic shows, and then shows that get canceled after like 1 or 2 seasons. And it's more prevalent now with streaming era because there's so many shows created and stuff like that. But a lot of shows become hits or good shows that just get canceled after first season and they never get a chance, or like shows that are wonky never get a chance to get past the first season and stuff like that. When we had shows back in the day that have wonky first season stuff like that, but like they become iconic down the tube later and stuff like that. So what's your thoughts on TV shows back then versus now when it comes to cancellations? Because it's more prevalent in the streaming era.
I think for a couple of reasons. One, I think back then you had shows, and basically whether or not a show got canceled was basically put on how much money or ad revenue it made. So as long as your ratings was up and people were watching whichever metric they use count that, the show would stay. But in this streaming era and this era of short attention span, but before I jump into streaming, I want to say when you think about how shows were produced back then, they ordered a certain amount of episodes. The episodes played weekly or maybe daily, depending on setup, and they gauge rating. And at the end, they want to see are the ratings good. Yeah. But now in the streaming era, when they release shows whole seasons in one go, it's like it's a quality versus quantity type scenario.
Yeah.
So now you have to prove yourself in that first season because they're already making more stuff. They like everybody knows that season's gonna be released right here for the streaming services. All of this stuff is right available. One, there's a lot more streaming services that are competing for the same time versus like traditional cable. Remember, outside of say DVR, there was no way shows had you could only watch so many shows in a given time.
Yeah. So I see where you are saying from like, okay, so we have like different waves of shows. We have the Netflix binge style where sometimes like you saying before, it depends on how it's perceived and how it keeps afloat and stuff like that past the first season, especially if you like binge it in one go and stuff like that. And sometimes Netflix holds on to whatever kind of revenue number they have on how popular a series is or what is the shifting model that they want to put out forward and stuff like that. But then we also have some streaming sites that do the weekly model where it's like the first week could have a whole bunch of views on it and stuff like that, and then week over week in time and stuff like that, it may dip or it may rise or it may stay the same and stuff like that. So in a sense, I mean, if you have shows like that, what's the value in like let's say, okay, you have a binge model. It's like one of the highest rated shows, and it continues its momentum for like a couple weeks and stuff like that, but it still gets canceled versus like a show that is like popular in the beginning with a whole bunch of views, and then people come back for like the second week, but like it's an 8 episode show, and then they start to dip like every week on end. What's the policy, your thought on like both kind of cancellations? Like it's popular in one go in full and a whole bunch of people watch it, but it still gets canceled even though it was getting, high viewing count and stuff like that. And then the other is if it's like it started out hot and then it started to cool down week on week, and then they cancel it, but there was room for it to grow possibly in like a second season.
I think the bar has changed in regards to streaming versus traditional television. So basically, I just might have something here and my thoughts basically on how they're rating this show. They're rating it versus engagement. What kind of buzz is this show getting? Is this show bringing people to our platform?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when it comes to streaming, I mean, it's how many subscribers, and if a show can pull subscribers, that's important.
That's right. They care about how much a show is pulling people onto their platform. So, like you said, an example, you could have that show that was doing gangbusters, but if nobody's coming to the platform, if it's not bringing people into the platform, like if they watch that that's it, then that's not bringing people in the platform. It's not what they want.
Yeah.
Versus that show that you said that was filling up, that was had a good spike flooding off, but if it's still getting engagement, maybe via social media or things like that, and is bringing people to the platform to see what the buzz is about, then that show for them accomplishes its goal.
I guess sometimes it depends on the type of engagement. Like, for example, a couple weeks ago, they had announced that the Acolyte got canceled for Star Wars after that first season and stuff like that. And I mean, usual Star Wars fandom these days is like they're gonna hate on anything ideally new for the most part, or if it has any sort of like tones of different like or agenda or something like that. And like everybody was talking about like how the first week brought in viewers and stuff like that, and the first couple of weeks brought in viewers, but then it slowly started to dip out of the range. But the conversation around it, a lot of people were talking about it, but a lot of people were being like angry about it and chatting, and there's been a whole bunch of videos over it and stuff like that, and it left huge room for like a season 2 by the end of it and stuff like that. But then they decided to cancel. So like, what's your thoughts on a process like that, especially if it was bringing people to Disney Plus? But I don't know how, like, it was bringing people at probably the beginning stages, but like towards the end, it's probably wobbly. It had the high viewer numbers. I think it was one of the highest rated watched shows at the time when it came out, and then it just started dwindling off of that.
I guess that may come down to money.
Yeah, because I heard it was an expensive show.
That's what, like, is the money that, I guess for that scenario, it would come down in my thoughts of, is the money I paid to make this show, did I get it back? Or did I lose money?
Yeah, because when you make a show like that, like the crazy thing is they spend all this money on this show, and then it's out for however long and how many weeks it grabs, stuff like that. Then you create merch off it, but then slowly after everything starts to fall around it, they count their losses and they cancel the show. And then like a week after that, people are noticing that they go on the website and they can't see merch for the said show. So you've had a process of like putting out the merch and selling this show and having like buy attitude as Disney would want to do, but then out of nowhere you pull everything. You'd like say this is canceled, and you pull majority of the merch. People can't find the merch. So like what's the thought process on that after you spent so much?
Oh, they cut their losses, exactly like you were saying. They cut their losses.
Even in merch, though.
That's an expense. Even in merch, the merch, maybe they looked at how much merch they were selling, and between the merch, TV show, the math didn't add up. They didn't make back they put in. So it's like, do I want to continue spending this or putting this into something that could potentially make me more money?
True. I mean, that's usually the policy with the things going down. I mean, if one thing's canceled, Star Wars still got like a multitude of upcoming things that they can work towards next. So that is one of those things. If they find something at a deficit too much, they would decide against it and cut their loss.
Yeah, so I think now that we're in the streaming era, it's like the competition is hot. So you have one shot.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it becomes a rare occasion whether it wins or loses, because it's like you could be hot and shit like that, but you're never necessarily guaranteed the spot for like a season 2 or something.
Yeah, because there's so much competition, there's so available content that they want that's being looked at and stuff like that. It's like, now you have to fight for that spot. In the traditional day, you still had to fight for your spot, but the competition and the stuff around it was different. The barrier of entry was probably a lot higher because you had to negotiate with TV studios. You had to get put in certain spots. And then I think if your show wasn't doing good, they could shift you off to another day or something like that. In streaming world, that really does that segmentation of, hey, I can put my lower performing shows here, my high performing shows go on prime time. That really doesn't exist in the streaming setup because everything is just given to you at once.
Good point. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we could just chalk this up to definitely business expenses, especially with the streaming wars and how much money is being spent out for numerous amounts of shows, different levels of content and stuff like that. And that's where I would just vote that it's probably just easy to cut their losses because they do see somebody else making some other content that they can shift towards, and maybe it'll be a better result that they can produce too. I mean, we're talking about shows on Disney and stuff like that. If there's a content to be made, they'll find it.
Yeah, there are more opportunities, but there's very much more competition. So
it's Dougie Doug world in this situation, pretty much. Yeah. All right, so that's a good conversation off of that, and I'll close on the off-the-cuff discussions, and we can switch over into some nerd and reboot news. So going right off the bat of just strikes in general, I just wanted to talk of the animation strike of the summer. So we're going into like the last few weeks of officially summer season, and during a while ago, before like while we was off the break of like recording and stuff like that, we've had a lot of animators and stuff like that, especially like video game style animators and I think voice actors and stuff like that, people around of animation and stuff like that have been on strike because they're striking against, I mean, you betcha, what they were dealing with before with all the other strikes like a year prior, but it's dealing again with AI now. Now it's an ever changing battle and a whole weird situation. I think they weren't getting help from strikers that happened like prior that had the same kind of war against AI. I think they were talking about, while they was on strike, I think they were talking about a new groundbreaking deal with AI technology and shit like that, and people should invest and be ready for the future and shit like that. But like voice actors is not trying to lose their job or have their voice set into places or any kind of issue of kind of the situation at hand. So you would imagine like animation strike summer would be big on that, because I mean, you don't want your place put into like video games and stuff like that with such an AI policy and whatnot.
Yeah, we're gonna keep seeing this until the laws catch up and laws are put in place around AI.
Yeah, I mean, it must have lead way for us to have an issue with the situation and stuff going down with animation and video games in general. I remember the Naruto video game that came out not too long ago, where there was some line redubbing that came out where people thought it was so egregious that it came out weird that it felt like it was AI policy, where the companies had to come out and was like, no, I don't think it's AI necessarily that we've been using for this, but it's one of those things that slowly seems like it's creeping in, and it's obvious that it's lost a whole level of luster. There's no emotion in the way things are coming out, and it's like, well, that's a big situation where you're making a big super money budget game and then you have missing key elements that give heart to the game.
Yeah, you got stuff like that, like with the voice actor, the artists and stuff like that. Like I said, AI law's gonna have to catch up with that.
Yeah. As we always say, with the technology changes and people finding out X, Y, and Z, this is why we're gonna have constant wars on this AI front and stuff like that from all different sides, because there's a whole bunch of companies that want to do lighter and easier stuff for more money, and it's just like you're gonna miss a big key element of stuff that like shows love. It's like when they do like HD remakes of games and stuff like that, but like because of laws of them losing out on the soundtrack, a game don't hit the same because their soundtrack has been changed, because over time they don't have those rights no more.
Yep.
It's those kind of weird vibes that make you lose out on the heart and soul of passion and art just in general. So that's why we get a whole back and forth when it comes to pumping out AI technology and shit like that.
Yeah, and the thing about the technology and this technology in general, it's always going to progress.
Yeah.
That is always going to be a thing. It's just the laws and copyright and stuff like that need to keep up with those changes. It's going to be a constant cat and mouse thing. We're going to get new technology that's going to be implemented. People are going to exploit it, We're going to see how it's exploited. They're going to put laws in place to minimize the ability to exploit said thing.
Yeah, because
we do it all over again.
At the end of the day, the worst case scenario is these big companies falling lazy to this shit and using it massively to cut numerous amounts of jobs, and then you just have a heartless, soulless shit.
Yeah, so especially when it comes to art creation and things that have a human element.
Yep. So we gonna keep up and keep going on and seeing how this AI battle turns out with that. And now onward to the next nerd news. We covered X-Men 97, but now we got to chat on this shit with Bo DeMayo. It's been a hot button weird issue that's going on now. So we talked about this long ago, but like Bo DeMayo, who is one of the head co-creators and writers on X-Men 97, who brought us the fabulous season to heart that he put together on the show. So Disney finally decided to let loose on what exactly was going on with his whole firing situation, because he got fired right before the show came out, like a day or two before the show officially started and stuff like that. And it's been a lot of hush hush going through the whole season and stuff like that. Now the show has finished putting out its first season, getting geared up for season 2. They're using some of Bo's ideas going into season 2, and they'll have like a different writer for season 3. But so far, Disney has put out the information that he was sending co-workers lewd images. He was doing some weird shit and harassing co-workers and shit like that, sending them suggestive pictures that make to make a certain scene pop or something like that. And shit has been going off. Wow. So he has been quiet since that whole thing came out, and he's been like quiet on all social media fronts and stuff like that. So out of the last few days, he had finally popped up on Twitter again and stuff like that. And you would imagine he would be like, the truth will be, heard and shit like that. So far, apparently, he has gone to his, I guess, OnlyFans page, where he said that's where he'll drop the truth. So I don't know. Nothing has leaked out from anybody who had heard what he put up, or if he had put up anything yet or anything like that. But I mean, it's a weird situation that only gets weirder. His lawyers have been using sort of verbiage and stuff like that that doesn't necessarily exonerate him from anything, but necessarily, I mean, what's your take on this whole situation with Bo versus Marvel / Disney?
Ooh, so this can get messy. It depends on his contract and if it has reality.
Yeah. So I don't know what his truth is deemed to be, or what he said and stuff like that. And I know once they released that information out about, like, straight to the public, I mean, that turned a lot of people into because there was a lot of ardent people that was calling for Bo DeMayo to come back and stuff like that. But then when they released the information, everybody was turning around like, oh yeah, now we get why you was let go. So it's like one of those things where he's like saying this is all defamation and lies and stuff like that. It's definitely a lot of he said, company said situations and stuff like that. So it tends to be on what's going on, because a lot of people was also talking about the fact that there wasn't really any coworkers that was coming to his aid and assistance while he was saying that. And that could be a various amount of reasons why, or I mean, maybe something did happen.
So when I look at stuff like that, there are very few reasons why a company would fire. And most,
especially right before, especially the week on when they're dropping the show, it's like all eyes is going to be on something.
It could be money. That would normally be the top one. The only thing that tops money that I've seen for most businesses is their reputation or perceived reputation. So
Disney?
Yeah. So whatever he was doing probably had the potential to cause a PR disaster. The only thing that a business like a Disney or a big corporation cares about more than money is their public reputation.
And I mean, ultimately, what we thought originally, a lot of people was thinking just in general, because I mean, if you check his Twitter and stuff like that, he's not one to hide his body or anything like that. And he promotes his OnlyFans just in general and stuff like that. And we was thinking that just ultimately that was just not how Disney wanted to be perceived attached to this guy just in general. But if it's something even further worse than that, I mean, well, Yeah.
Right. Maybe they asked him to close down his OnlyFans. He could have said no. It could have been something like that. Or maybe they found something else they felt that could have came and bite them back in the butt later. It could be a lot of reasons.
Yeah, because at first I think the thing that pulled on Disney and Marvel's string in the first place to announce all the shit that happened with Bo DeMeo was, I think, like that the day of or the week of, he had accused them of firing him because he was gay. He had alluded to in a post or something like that with him in a photo drawing of dressed up as Cyclops with like the rainbow in the back and stuff like that, and then it got really to a situation where it seemed like, all right, Disney was like, all right, we let you talk for long enough. Here you go with this kind of stuff.
Could that be possible? Possibly. But in today's climate, that would cause them.
Disney would be in a shit more. That it would have been. They would have found something else with that, because they would not be able to live off of that.
Exactly. That we go back to that whole public perception, and that would be a problem.
Yeah.
That would be a PR problem. So if that was the reason, if that was a possible reason, I don't think they would have fired him.
Yeah.
They would have did something else with him, put him somewhere else, maybe not have a show, or put him somewhere, but they wouldn't have fired him.
Yeah. But I mean, to continue ongoing situations, as questions will be raised, we'll see how, if that information leaks out on his truth or something like that, or whatever goes on to this going forward and stuff like that, because this is gonna continue on going into I mean, the mere fact that they're still using his ideas for season 2 is something as well, because at like, he was firing, he was okay to, like, so he finished out the first season, they didn't catch nothing, but like he was in the midst of doing season 2, and it's like they didn't decide to scrap that whole thing and keep that, but like can him is an interesting thought.
Yeah, that leads to something happened.
Yeah.
Something happened that they were like, oh shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, stop what you're doing, pack your box, you got to go.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like something out of left field had to happen, or maybe somebody raised a harassment allegation. It was something that
probably
that they was like, oh,
we gotta see. So we'll continue to see on how that plays out, if any further news leaks out on that, for sure. So going further into the Nerd and Reboot news, we got a new trailer this week for Dragon Ball Daima. So this drops on the same day as Sparking Zero, October 11th. This is Akira Toriyama's final work before his tragic passing of this year. This is Dragon Ball Daima. So they said story-wise, this Dragon Ball series fits right between after the Buu saga and before that little special they had, Yo Goku and Friends and stuff like that. So this is before Super. This is before GT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's stretched right into that partial. So if you're gauging on power levels and stuff like that, there will be no Super Saiyan God or anything like that. Goku, it seems like it stemmed on the story of why everybody got turned into kids or something like that. Some villain that was kind of Bobbity-esque, I guess, magic or something like that, wished on the dragon and got a lot of the characters to turn kid form or kid relations or something like that. And it looks like Goku and Supreme Kai are the main duo of this thing, and it has the trailer is very done up. Like, this is one of the only animes for the first time in a long time I can remember that they said all the episodes are completely done. Like, they fixed out, they don't have to, this isn't one of those shows that they have to work weekly and fix up any animation or anything like that. Everything, all 20 episodes is in the can, so this is ready to go, and they'll be doing weekly drops from October 11th through Crunchyroll and stuff like that. So it's given a mixture of, Dragon Ball Z feel to Dragon Ball feel, coming together with, Kid Goku shenanigans and stuff like that. A little of early, I guess, GT, when they tried to capture that same kind of spirit and stuff like that. But they got all the best animators and key things on it to work on it. They got like powerhouse of people, of action and everything coming together. The trailers look absolutely beautiful. We're just interested to see how the story plays out and stuff like that, with the whole thing completed and stuff like that. So everything's good. Nothing needs to be touched up, and that'll be dropping soon. So that'll be interesting to see.
So do you feel this is Dragon Ball song?
This might be. I don't know how Akira Toriyama felt by like finishing. We'll see if like he had a gist of his condition not doing so well and might want to put a little heart towards like the end of it. Maybe this might be an end lead off into something or a generation or something like that. But I guess we'll see if this middle portion or anything like that will work out and stuff like that. So this will be interesting. It's Akira Toriyama's heart. Like, this is the most he's ever worked on something, even past like the movie levels and stuff. So we'll see genuine last bit of Akira Toriyama coming out of this. After like we had Sandland, he got to work on this year, last year with the movie, and this year with the series and stuff like that coming out. And then this with Daima will be probably his last bit of work, and all his love and attention back in there. So I expect comedy, I expect action, I expect a lot of usage of the power pole, I expect a whole bunch of shenanigans with Kid Goku and stuff like that. Everybody was joking about how long it took for us to see Goten and Trunks to grow up, only for them to become babies now again. There's a whole big joke out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, and it's gonna be October 11th is gonna be a fire ass day for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z fans just in general, because you got that and Spark and Zero just coming together and stuff like that. That shit gonna go crazy. People gonna have double the monitors. They're gonna have computer Daima going on, and then they're gonna be playing Spark and Zero. So that shit gonna go crazy. They got I saw it on Spark and Zero. They got you could do a world tournament online. You know that shit going crazy.
Oh yeah,
that shit going double crazy, boy. There's gonna be so
Bring
much
on the games.
Crashing server like a motherfucker. This shit, it's a fabulous time to be a fighting game fan all around, obviously. So yeah. So moving off of that, let's talk on Anime NYC this year. And the mere fact that it's going to be coming back summer next year. Let's talk about our experience this year of going to Anime NYC. Co-host, the floor is yours on this one.
I didn't like it. I was feeling the panels were lackluster. I don't know if it was because of Switch, but something felt off this year.
So I don't know if it's based around what we was around, but it looked like at the end of the day, even whether you're there at Anime NYC or any kind of con convention or some kind of situation, some things don't necessarily vibe out, and maybe it's because of the day you go on or whatever just comes together, stuff like that. This year it did not feel that great. I didn't know about the events until you literally sent me the list, and the events specifically on the day that the friggin' thing was sold out didn't feel that great to specify on. The Friday and Sunday events looked a bit better and more cultural inclusion and stuff like that, but like Saturday felt like it was lacking. I've seen videos coming out of it that made it look exciting or things that was going on just in general. I guess we wasn't around those sections, but definitely I guess with the short range of like we had it in November and then bam, it popped up back up in August. Maybe that wasn't enough time for them to put a good enough list together and stuff like that. I heard a bunch of people was talking about not enough voice actors or special things that was going down in general, which I could just imagine with the turnaround time that they don't have usually. This was the quickest turnaround time between Anime NYC to Anime NYC, but it's like maybe since they're going to have it again next summer, maybe they can work on stuff even better or finagle what they can and stuff like that. Because it looked like they had a smaller section. A lot of people was talking about they didn't have as large a field to the Javits as they once had. So I guess it might be even shifting smaller or something like that, which didn't help a lot of things going on. So I don't know. Just the summer vibes just didn't feel like it was hitting the peak that it was supposed to. And
I would even say it felt even Crunchyroll's presence felt lacking.
Yeah. I think because they were just at Anime Expo and they was doing their Crunchyroll thing as general. I don't know. I guess this time around there was just not that like I listened to their own podcast, the Crunchyroll podcast that they have, and it felt like they had a bigger presence everywhere else. They was at Evo, they were at Anime Expo, they were at other places, but it didn't feel like they had a huge stance in Anime NYC, which is funny because they're pretty much the biggest sponsors of Anime NYC. So it's kind of telling when they could do a lot and have more presence elsewhere, but not over here. It felt like it didn't feel like we was getting anything major genuine. It felt like everything was on the backlog of something else that happened. Like all of the ideas for this con came out of other things. Like DreamCon feels like it had more things to talk about. Anime Expo definitely had more things to talk about. Evo had a lot of things coming out. I don't feel like anything anything really huge was announced or happened at Anime NYC.
I feel the same, and that's like I said, this year it just fell off.
Maybe they need to find their groove because I mean I know it probably was a different time and stuff like that, but I don't think there's anything really that happens in November, so it made Anime NYC kind of special in the state of like conventions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but like sticking it in summer, there's so many things happening during the summer. You've got Dragon Con, you've got Dream Con, you've got Blerd Con, you've got so many different kinds of cons happening, and now that like cons is the normal thing, you can have cons popping up in Bronx, cons popping up in Brooklyn, cons popping up in Mount Vernon. There's little cons that happen all around that's starting to forget. Tomo happens in the summer. Like there's so much stuff that gravitates that it feels like it's a bit too crowded. I think there's space in towards the end of the winter. I know it was like colder and stuff like that, but they genuinely carved the space for themselves because everybody clusters themselves in around the summer months. So they might need to like either them or some other con needs to finagle their way into like the November months or something like that, because that's kind of a free space now.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why they were quick to announce Anime NYC in like the summer again for next year, but I don't know, man. I would have given it some time to think that over, because I can't imagine, because they were still selling Friday and Saturday and stuff like that. It wasn't like the only days that was really sold out was Saturday. So I feel like something was up.
Yeah, on the one hand, I get it, but you took yourself and you brought yourself into the space where it's already crowded.
Yeah, and a lot of people I talked to still assumed that they was gonna be in November. So I guess people wasn't really getting the memo, or people didn't realize until late that they were popping up so soon in the summer and stuff like that. Because I had various people asking me, and they were like, "Oh, it's coming up so soon." So some people were still caught off guard just in general. So I'm like, I want to know what the comparison was. I want to know how many people came to the summer one and how many people came to the November one, and I would put that up to mindfulness.
Yep.
So there's a various amounts of shit that was happening here.
Yep. So I guess next year will be the true measuring point.
Yeah, pretty much. And hopefully, I guess people get the memo by that time.
Yeah, if it's 2 years in a row and that happens, it's like
y'all gotta say that. Like you obviously know October you can't do that because that's New York Comic Con time. Yeah. But like you got ideally you possibly have September. I mean, people are going back to school and shit like that, so you might not, but like September, November is still ideal if you want to hop back into your space that you knew prevalently and stuff like that. Like it's depending on what you want to maneuver and stuff like that, but I would definitely keep in mind just in case, and definitely like try harder. I gotta say, because I mean this one was definitely carried by the people and the buzz of the people who brought people around, but other than that, I don't think them as a con themselves sold it strong enough. Artist Alley was congested and flipped around. A lot of things was taken over in space, and it just didn't feel like its own identity enough, strong enough for it to like have a presence. Yeah. All right. So continuing on the the nerd news in general. So we got a couple weeks before JJK's manga is ending. So this is our first time getting to talk about it, because we talked when My Hero was announced that they ended and they had their final chapters and stuff like that. And then now we're in the month now. So by the end of this month, Jujutsu Kaisen is officially done and wrapped up manga wise.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So honestly, depending on how they want to fix out the next season, I'm gonna give them about like, if they stretch it out and stuff like that, I give Jujutsu Kaisen a season and a movie, or 2 seasons max, and then they'll be done as an anime. And that'll be the end of the era of Jujutsu Kaisen. Okay. So we got 2 powerhouses ending this year in the manga space and stuff like that. And I mean, all I can say is, I mean, Shonen Jump got some success here and there, not as big as Jujutsu Kaisen or stuff like that they've had that finished out. But we're in an era where they can close out like these high level anime and manga stuff like this early and not have it drag out for like the long reaches and stuff like that, like Naruto or Bleach or something like that. They still have One Piece, so they still have their safe base and stuff like that. Even though One Piece is in its final arc and stuff like that, but they still got at least like 2, probably 3 years of One Piece to at least bank on while they build their surroundings. But there's some hitters that they got over there, and they're doing another contest to find their next big hitter and stuff like that. So there's time for them to produce, but it's just a changing of the era to let go of their big hitters.
Wait, let's touch on that for a quick second. Think about what it would be like when One Piece is actually.
Oh no, it's a different era. That's an absolute changing of a guard era for various amounts of reasons why. It'll be a big shift into everything, and then we'll have to find who's the next legacy greatness to fill out that top. Because I mean, even with they have Boruto around, but that only comes monthly. Black Clover is on its end as well, and that only drops every like 3 months because of the author status. Hunter x Hunter is supposed to come back, but Tagashi's already feeling the pain, so that'll probably go on hiatus again. It's like a whole bunch of shit like that. Like they have a generation of other mangas that are on the cusp and stuff like that, but like getting certain major things out of the way is going to be key point into seeing how long their infatuation will like kick it up.
Yeah, because think about it, One Piece in itself is like a little time capsule of anime. And
yeah,
you can look at the beginning of One Piece and you can see how the animation and the time change.
Mm-hmm. Hell, One Piece is part of the big three. We'll fight like once One Piece ends, that is the end of the big three officially.
Oh wow, I didn't think about that either.
Yeah,
right.
Wow. Yeah, One Piece is the only one still trucking along with the live of the big three. Like the Naruto officially finished and Bleach officially finished. Like One Piece is the only thing that keeps the big three alive.
Yeah, the last outlaw.
Yeah. Truly on that shit for sure.
Wow.
So with all that, definitely with the JJK ending and stuff like that, well, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see because I heard a little bit of controversy that that the guy who's writing JJK might have a little the same situation that happened with Bleach, where they were rushing Kubo towards the end and a lot of things got smudged together and stuff like that. So they might be not giving the author was like sick for a couple of weeks and they're adamant on their deadline and shit like that. So he might be like concise in a whole bunch of shit in the next couple of weeks. They got a lot of people like, well, there's a lot of answers happening real fast and it doesn't look like we're getting shit fleshed out. We'll see how results happen on that because a lot of motherfuckers that always get talked about being rushed. Nobody likes a rushed ending. Yep. So following up on that, we just saw a trailer. Did you see the trailer today? The Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary?
No, I have not.
Dude, oh, bruh. Okay, so they announced the Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary, and it was interesting because it was like, how far is this gonna go? What's gonna happen? What's necessarily going on? And I tell you this, when I saw that trailer, I was ready for the biggest load of weird bullshit that might happen because the first thing the trailer opens up on is them interviewing Vince himself. And I'm like, that documentary is already feeling like it's cute. Like they interviewed a lot of people that, you know, is close by Vince. The Rock's in it and he's got his glasses on, he's got his bullshit glasses on. And I'm like, and then you got John Cena in there, you got Bruce Pritchard in there. And I'm like, this is smelling like puff piece because they said they didn't talk to they like in the trailer it addresses the scandals that was going on and stuff, but they were also addressing his steroid scandal and a whole bunch of stuff, the Chris Benoit incident. Like they're addressing major stuff and stuff like that. But like towards I remember a couple of weeks ago it was said that Janelle Grant, the one who's officially like in court against Vince right now, was not interviewed for any bit of this, but like it's interviewed and it's chatted a lot on Vince in this documentary. And you got to keep in mind that WWE is coming to Netflix. So it's going to be a weird dissonance where they have this big ass documentary talking about all the fucked up shit that Vince has done, but in a skewed kind of way because Vince is also talking and narrating his own documentary while they gonna go into 2025.
That's wild.
And then they're gonna go into 2025 with a WWE that's Vince-less for various reasons why you should be attached to this, which is, this is the weirdest level of thing. You're gonna have a whole bunch of people talking up Vince and a whole bunch of shit, and it's gonna be very weird because this nigga, yes.
Did they play his theme in the trailer?
No, but I feel like they will in the action. Like it's the mere fact that you sat down and interviewed him about his side and shit like that, but not the victim, which makes it very strangely skewed. It's like you talk about this in people who are around the situation. I'm like, this lean a very one-sided in this documentary. It's like It's like
say
it's like if Ted Bundy was still alive to like before he goes in the chair, let's get the documentary on him and not the victim.
Only reason I say that makes a little bit of sense is probably because it's still an active case.
I get it, but like you don't want to like but you're definitely skewing to one side by interviewing the guy himself and getting the point
I don't know why Vince did this when there's an active case going, but
that's what I'm saying. You are definitely, but that
part,
like nobody's gonna incriminate themselves and shit like that. And it's just like The Rock's on it. And the last documentary The Rock was on, he became a fucking meme for lies. Like, bro, he has the same fit on with the same glasses. It's like, bro, this is not skewing. Like it's enticing. The way how they set up the trailer is very enticing. And obviously you want to watch it for entertainment purposes, but it's a whole level of bullshit that's like, it's like everybody that could be on Vince's side, that could talk it, it's gonna be so weird because in real life interviews on real people who've worked with Vince for years has chastised the way how he has done, and they've talked about how much the company is better without him and shit like that. How you gonna have this on Netflix and then in 2025 y'all got WWE who they're gonna talk about how life is all better while Vince is gone, and then you gonna look up WWE on Netflix, you gonna have that and the documentary. Shit gonna feel weird on Netflix.
Man, they gonna have to kill Brandon up all up in Netflix. I'm telling you.
TKO gonna have to say so. They've tried so hard to divide themselves against Vince, and then Vince is gonna be attached to this Netflix documentary where they're going on Netflix. How can you deny that you're still not attached to this nigga when you type in WWE and that's gonna pop up right on the place show? That's gonna be so awkward.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out.
I've never seen a place that want to divide a motherfucker more, but then be more attached to him than ever. I'm so shocked that they've actually gone through to release this.
Right? I was like, you think TKO was like, guys, well, not a good look.
Nigga, if I would have said the ultimate pettiness would have been like if they sold it and like the week WWE was going on Netflix, Hulu dropped this documentary.
Now that shit.
That's the streaming wars I want to see.
Now that would have been like
even worse. Imagine. So we're in January.
I think I know where you go with this.
We're in January. WWE is going to Netflix, and then Max gets the information to drop the Vince doc. HBO Max gets the Vince doc, and at the same time, they got the AEW streaming on Max as well. So you got AEW, the alternative, on Max, and they got the competition documentary telling you how shitty Vince is on Max. And they dropped the documentary right when WWE go to Netflix.
The only thing that probably could have been worse than that dropped on.
Petty War's going around. Petty is going around.
Woo!
You gonna drop us? You gonna drop us? No. Even worse. Peacock and Fox agree. They drop it on Peacock.
Shit!
And then a week later, it drops on Fox.
Oh no, that's levels of petty. I'm like, whoo!
Man, shake that shit. Petty as fuck, man. This is gonna be messy as hell, man. And that shit comes. They dropped the date. That shit drops the end of this month, September 25th. Yeah, so that's gonna be something else, man. Netflix, and you know how enticing. Even non-wrestling fans gonna be all up in that shit because when Netflix drops a documentary, that shit gonna get hot. This shit is gonna be surviving Vince.
Woo!
This shit is gonna be crazy, and then it's gonna be the biggest snuff face. We said that it could only go two ways. They could either be this shit could be the messiest thing ever, or this could be the biggest load of bullshit we ever seen. But we're gonna be watching, and it's gonna be messy. Yep. So following up on Netflix, they are still into that mood of changing live action stuff into anime presentation because they just announced they're having a Twilight anime.
Oh,
yeah, they're doing an animated series off of Twilight from the perspective of Edward, the main vampire, and stuff like that. So it'll be, I guess, the same story done in a different person's perspective, but it's gonna be animated. So I mean, kudos on. I still like this better than animation turned live action because apparently the Terminator series that they dropped, which I had watched watched it, and it is pretty good. They said that's the best Terminator they've had in years, because the Terminator franchise have been putting out stuff that hasn't been seen or pretty great and stuff like that. But this anime that they dropped has been pretty good. 8 episodes, and it come out pretty good. It's gruesome. It's Evangelion like and stuff like that, and the way how they like to talk about society and AI and everything, and a whole bunch of shit in general. But I watched it. It's pretty good. So I'm definitely on board. I'm here. I'm interested to see the Tomb Raider series that they drop probably next month and stuff like that, and various other stuff they got. The kudos on the Netflix animation game. Somebody challenged them to it, and they said, "Hey, bet we'll do it if niggas want to do." Because I heard this week niggas was complaining about the Minecraft trailer of how it looks and stuff like that going to live action, and then they also reminded everybody that Netflix has an animated Minecraft thing coming out as well. So niggas got the option. Hey, it's the best time. Sometimes you deal with live action to see how that goes, and then you got Netflix saying, "Shit, I mean, if you don't like that, we could turn that shit back over to some animation and see if y'all have some fun with that."
Well, as long as they leave Day That Shall Not Be Named in the ground, be all good.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, no live action. But keeping in mind, we are still in terms of we're still on the path of getting that new reboot by the original creator as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so no 2016 style reboot, but the reboot from the actual creator who has an actual heart in this stuff, and the gang is getting back all together to make that. So hopefully we get
the villains again.
Hopefully we'll hear more news on that and see what goes down with that. Hopefully we'll get more news before the end of the year.
Okay.
Yep. And speaking of successful live action stuff in movie theaters, that Sonic 3 trailer dropped, and motherfucker was that shit good. Man, when you talk about motherfuckers dropping a trailer, that's some hype shit. Shout outs to Keanu Reeves joining the Sonic series, because apparently he chose Sonic over because he was supposed to be in the Acolytes. I think he was supposed to be one of the main Jedi, but he said there was a conflict and shit like that. Apparently it was for this nigga to film in Sonic. So this nigga picked Sonic over Star Wars. Already big pressure off of that shit. So big shout outs to that. The trailer was hot. Action was crazy. They had Shadow out here looking like Broly from old school Broly, the way how he was treating all the Z fighters, beating bricks off them niggas. So that Sonic 3 trailer looked hot, and I'm ready for that shit.
I gotta give it up to Sega for what they've done with these Sonic movies.
Shout outs to the fans, especially remember that first ugly Sonic trailer where niggas was like, we ain't doing this, and boy did they learn, and boy are they reaping the benefits off of that.
Yeah, the fact that they listened, and they probably saved that whole set of movies.
Best history of bullying ever. That's why they can't completely abolish bullying, because man, that was the best use of bullying I've ever seen in my life.
Right, and then didn't that bootleg Sonic get used in another movie?
Yeah, and that Chip and Dale movie that I would never forget, bro. Ugly Sonic, which was a main character in that shit. So hell, that caused a ripple of that. Enhanced the Disney, like you can't. That shit was absolutely great.
Right, it's wild that they think, yeah, we're not gonna waste this time here. You do something with it.
Great, excellent. And the way how all these hedgehogs look, and just the story we get and shit like that, I am super hyped. And apparently that's supposed to drop the same day as the Mufasa movie. So it's gonna be a war in them theaters, man. It's gonna be a war.
You got that. You got Sonic Prime on Netflix. It's like Sega is really doing a really good job with the Sonic properties when it comes to film and streaming.
Yeah, and also on top of that, I think the same month as Dragon Ball, I think towards like the 25th of October, they're releasing a Sonic video game, the Sonic Generations video game, but it's the Shadow collaboration. So it's the best time, man. It's the year of Shadow, so it's a great time. People are getting they feel all around. I love the synergy right now. When you watch a good show and then you're hankering to play a video game, they're hitting you with the 1-2 punch. We got the X-Men series coming out this year, and then this month they're releasing Marvel vs. Capcom collections on the Switch and the PlayStation, the Xbox, all around. So after so long of watching X-Men, and you get the feel and you ready to fight with the X-Men again, we getting that shit this month. And then you're gonna watch a Shadow movie, and you got the Sonic game there. You're gonna watch Dragon Ball Daima, and you got Spark and Zero there. Like, I love the synergy, man. You watch shit, you ready to box, and then you go in the games and you box. I love it.
Yeah. So I had a question. What's the beef with Shadow and Tails?
Oh, he just don't like that nigga. Obviously. What was the beef? What was the beef with Vegeta and Yamcha? Why he steal his girl like that?
Damn.
Exactly.
Damn.
Exactly, man.
Woo!
What you got to say, man?
Woo!
That boy lacking. He not a fighter like that. Shit. Why was Broly always stomping a motherfucker? Why did Piccolo show up and instantly get dropped by Broly?
Yeah, that's true. Boy.
Like I'm telling you, bro, I watched that trailer and the first thing that came to mind was Broly in his very first movie, the way how he trashed them Z fighters, because the way how he twisted Knuckles' wrist and snapped that shit, sent that boy flying, which I love Generation, because the scene that he did, you could do it. They showed it on Twitter that it was the side-by-side caption. He kicked him the same way that Vegeta kicked Cell's second form in the gut.
Yo, that's wild.
He kicked Knuckles the exact same way in the gut flying. They paused that shit and it was the exact same scene. I was like, that is some perfection shit. He drop kicked Tails. He grabbed up Sonic, lifted him in the air, and dropped him down for a major clothesline. Like, bro, this is some Broly-ass shit.
Where's all this aggression coming from, bro?
Well, we about to find out. We about to be in the theater clapping up some murder, baby. We gonna see some mess, man. And then let's talk about Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, who retired from all levels of acting. He said he was done. He was retired and everything. This nigga keep coming back for Sonic. You telling me something in that script is so good that they got this nigga constantly coming out of retirement? I love it. I love it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep giving me Jim Carrey. Keep giving me Sonic movies. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No questions asked.
It's one of those roles where he's like, this is me. I fit this.
I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. And then what if you see in the trailer, he's playing like two characters, and even me and Elijah clocked it. With the second character he's playing is very grinchy, and it's so perfect because this movie comes out close to Christmas. So if Jim Carrey's back in his Grinch bag around Christmas time, this movie is so perfect. This movie's so perfect.
For me, it seems like Jim Carrey is having fun.
Oh yeah, 10-10, no notes. I'm loving it. Bring me Jim Carrey that has fun, man. I love it.
And what it reminds me closest of is when he did The Mask.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's in his classic bag. He's in his classic bag.
He pulled it out again to be Dr. Eggman.
Yeah. And he's the progression of the character and stuff like that. Like I love it.
I'm afraid he has to be a Sonic because
absolutely. And if he wasn't before, if he came into like that first movie just to have a little bit of fun, I guarantee you he's a Sonic fan now.
Yo, for real, without question, bro. Because I'm like, yo, that what he puts into this character,
I love it. Like I think the second movie had like a dance scene and shit like that he was in, going through lasers. It's like it's so peak Jim Carrey, man.
I'm like,
peak everything you loved about this guy.
At this point, I couldn't see anybody else doing it.
Nah, honestly, no. And I don't want to. Like, I'm perfectly fine with what we got here, man.
Yep.
It's great. So I love that. So definitely when that comes out, definitely gonna be catching that. Shout outs to Kareem and Jack, because man, like I keep them on the up and up when anything drops, and you know them niggas beyond ready for the Sonic show.
Man, we just go see this one.
Yeah, man. If we can find a way to have Jack, Kareem, me, and you go all seeing this, bro, I'm down. Yep. So going into the last couple of bit of nerd news, we got an announcement. I think like last week from the people who did the Cyberpunk anime that they're ready to do more. So they're looking into doing an anthology series anime with Cyberpunk, which means more seasons will be going into more stories of different people of different stories to go down and shit like that, which I am so on the hook for. That first season that they've done so well with that first 10 episode arc with the characters and stuff like that was fantastic. So I'm super behind on them doing an anthology series on another character and shit like that in this mad world, because we said this world is so big that there's so much room to go on. So I'm down. Super down.
It's so funny because me and a coworker were talking about that the other day, and we talked about what it did like season 1 where the ambulance came and scanned the lady.
Yep.
And just said, "Oh yeah, she ain't gonna be out." Oh.
Fucked up shit we was talking about for sure.
Yeah. My coworker was like, "Yeah, that's the future." I was like, "I don't want this future."
Oh no, definitely not. And you know AI gonna do that shit for sure. You think AI care about you? You don't got your insurance, buddy? Humans don't care about you if you don't got insurance. Them robots definitely gonna toss you out first.
Yep, they're like, whoop, like, oh, my leg, beep, beep, beep. Oh, you got enough credits. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely. Nothing is more pertinent than that one Black Mirror episode where your social status was dependent on everything you could do in a society. Like, if you was embarrassing on a social level, you would have so low ratings you wouldn't be allowed to buy a certain car. It would keep you from buying a. Listen, bro. there's this one, I can't remember it, but it's with Bryce Dallas Howard, where it's the scariest thing ever. It's all depending on your social status, and your social status will dictate on how your life will go. If you are at a lower level, you will not be able to buy a certain car. You will not be able to buy certain things at the groceries. You will not be allowed to buy certain things or buy certain houses or things, and it will gradually like block you off. Like you will be blocked from certain society until you find a way to raise up that level. And it's like, if you're deemed lower or in a lower like status or something like that, it will deem you homeless. It is a scary situation to look at, and Black Mirror will always be a spooky kind of futuristic.
Ooh, what in the caste system? Oh, good.
Listen, man, Black Mirror has always been peak of spooky, man, and that's definitely them. Whew. So yeah, moving forward, we got an announcement that Wendy's finally got the secret formula, me boy. So apparently Wendy's is doing a collab that's coming out soon or something like that they gonna have the Krabby Patty meal. So they be selling Krabby Patties to people, and they got a pineapple frosty, and they got stuff coming out. I don't know when exactly they finna drop this, but yeah, they got the formula, and niggas was making jokes all around. They was like, we in a recession if Mr. Krabs finally sacrificed that formula to Wendy. You gotta get paid up for that dough, man. So yeah, man, we getting that secret formula, and Plankton hot as hell right now.
Oh, here's your chance, Plankton.
Yeah, man. He
infiltrate Wendy's.
Finna go to Wendy's and find out what's going on with this poppin' meal. So I'm interested to see what they're doing, because they said they got the crabby sauce going down and shit like that. Like, I'm trying to find out what's going on with Wendy's. Drop that shit, brother.
Right.
And I'm trying to find out, man. So whenever they launch that, best believe they can go into Wendy's and find it out. I still ain't even tried their different kind of saucy nugs. So I got various stuff to pull up on Wendy, trying to find out what's up. Yeah, and they took away the motherfucker that was by Legends and stuff like that. When niggas was mobbing out, so I don't know, man. It's the removal of certain Wendy's that's just like, fuck y'all. But nonetheless, last bit of news is so last night on AEW, we got an iconic thing that gone down. We got honestly, this is probably lick back of the year when a nigga wants to promote about niggas buying their childhood home and shit like that, and niggas all thought in their mind, they was like, what we doing here? Yeah, that Swerve and Hangman feud is certainly icy on here. We saw a good old house burning, baby. We got the lick back of the century with the line of the century. Whose house? Swerve's house. Boom. Shit was so that's one of them shits you gonna look back in a couple of years, you gonna be like, yeah, man, that was a fight. That's like when Austin threw Rock off the bridge.
Oh, and this is what I'm saying, yo. This feud is like, I don't know who to root for here, because listen, look, I'm like,
I'm rooting and I'm scared for violence. That's all I fucking know.
Yeah, because I'm like, Hangman is justified. Like, listen, you went up in the man's house and touched his baby.
He's justified. 100%.
So I'm like, at that point, it's like,
this is karma at its rarest, buddy. Them niggas are eternal rivals perfectly. That nigga cut a promo on his baby, dropped some merch on him, and house invaded. And then on top of that, last week he was talking about he stalked the man, and I love that this rivalry had a nigga reveal that he was hiding a child. This has gone to Drake and Kendrick levels of beefing. This became Drake and Pusha T levels of beefing. This nigga told the world you are hiding a child. That's why you was gone for all them months. You was hiding a child, brother. Because this nigga, when he cut that promo last week, he was like, yeah, with your pregnant wife. I was like, brother, no, that happened like a year ago or something like that. Nah, this nigga said, your second child. Bro, what kind of reveal is that?
Bruh, I'm just like, wow. Like I said, at this point, it's in the grocery store. It's on the street. It's in the parking lot.
Niggas said it greatly. They said, that's why we got something ridiculous as a lights out cage match coming out this Saturday. Like, bro, that just made me scared, because these niggas said, nah, we wash our hands with this completely. I'm expecting a nigga to shoot somebody in this cage at this point.
Listen, the way that Swerve
shot, somebody get stabbed, something happened. A murder finna happen.
The way that Swerve looked on Wednesday, I was like, oh.
The way how he looked like he didn't get the insurance complete.
Right? Like, the paperwork ain't even been filled out fully yet. I was like,
nah, buddy. Because he announced that day, he was like, I got the paperwork. He was tweeting about it like a day prior. So he done had it all fixed up for a day. So I know this shit was
paperwork ain't even processed yet.
Ain't no way, bro. So yo, imagine going back to the realtors and the brokers and everything and telling about this whole thing. So it started with me cutting the promo on the baby, and then somehow it got to this point. I don't know how to explain this, y'all.
Listen, they was watching live on TV. They canceled the insurance right then and there.
Oh, they was like, what happened to those? Oh, hell nah, bro. That's on you, bro.
Like, we in process it, yeah, denied.
Brother, we didn't even, we was waiting till tomorrow to even put this through the machine. I'm sorry, but we shredding this bitch.
Right? And I'm like,
yeah, no refund, brother. Sorry. Right. Cold world, brother.
Woo, cost him a whole bunch of bread. Yo,
oh my goodness. God. Best place to hurt a mogul is in their pockets, baby.
And boy, not only burned his childhood home, it cost him all that bread. Woo.
Oh, yeah, it's time. Man, woo. What do we talk about on Monday about housing in general? We got niggas burning shit? Right? Oh, brother. And talk about, yo, this nigga said I bought my childhood whore. Like, brother, this is honestly, in a way you could take this shit. This is some Tulsa Massacre shit. This is some Black Wall Street house burning shit. Right. He took a black man and burned his childhood home. Like, tell me that ain't some Black Wall Street shit.
Walked through his whole house.
Talking about I know your daddy ain't want you. I know you ain't shit to your mama. I know your kids hate you, because this nigga was talking that shit. He was like, yeah, I know your fiance she took the kid. So I was like, bro, he was like, I know your daddy was telling you to shut the fuck up because you was a bad kid. And I know your daddy hates you, but I'm a good dad because I know my family loves me and I'm a good dad. And I know you ain't shit as a dad. So I'm going to burn this shit house. And tell me how petty you got to be to drag this nigga's father's couch.
That's what I'm saying.
Drinking the whiskey that I know you talked about. Yo, daddy, yo, Swerve's daddy was drinking that same kind of whiskey while you lit that shit, and that shit went kaboom. Bro,
the levels of petty that is going on here.
And then what makes it 10 times worse, this is the worst type of hangman because he's fucking drinking again.
Yep.
Bro, somebody's gonna die. Somebody gotta die in that cage, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know what's gonna happen in that cage.
I don't know. Honestly, the second these niggas said it's no longer just a regular steel cage, it's a lights out steel cage, I expect these niggas to be drinking blood again. It's gonna be a vampire match straight through. Drinking blood is the least amount of shit. I feel like some niggas gonna pick up one of the charred remains of that house and hit a nigga with it.
Mm-hmm.
Some niggas gonna pick up a piece of floorboard and hit a nigga with it. That's all I know is coming out of this show.
And that whole somebody probably made Darby blush.
Yeah. This is the first thing I ever seen where Darby was like, "Oh, y'all doing a what? Oh, y'all wildin'. Y'all know I'm crazy. But now, what y'all doing in there? Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. Absolutely, I could not do it, buddy.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, man, that shit gonna be spicy as hell. We gonna see a murder.
Fast, we gonna see something.
We gonna see something for sure, and I'm excited. That's on Saturday. That's good shit. But on that point, we close the day to reboot news all up, and it's time for the main event. Main event segment of this week, we are on A Shot of Kurosake. We are Black Anime Review. It's been a while, but we going into an absolute class. A notary, one of those things that used to be one of those animes known as a starter anime. We're going to go into some fast facts before we go on to episode 1 and 2. We are doing Soul Eater of this week. So some fast facts and some history. There's a Japanese manga series created by Toshi Okubo, streaming on Hulu and Crunchyroll, with 51 episodes to about. This was an anime known for its anime-only style ending that is very controversial because it's one of those things that happened to Full Metal Alchemist before the Brotherhood, and people are known to say a lot about Soul Eater because in the manga, it went a certain way, and it feels like this anime snuffed out a lot of characterizations to a very important bunch in this show, that it feels like if you go through the anime itself, that by the time it finished, it didn't characterize everybody to the best of its ability like in the manga. So a lot of people these days ask for a reboot of this very show, kind of like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood style.
Ah.
Yep. So on that, this was created by TV Tokyo, Bones, Aniplex, and etc. This anime ran from April of 2000. Yep. Aniplex. April of 2008 to March of 2009. Licensed by Funimation and put on Toonami. The genre is action, dark comedy, and fantasy. The plot revolves around 3 young warriors trying to capture and calm the evil going on in their worlds as they try to grow. So that is it for the fast facts in history. Do you have any to share before we get into episode 1, co-host?
Nope.
All right, so let's go into Resonance of the Soul. Will Soul Eater become a death site?
Yeah, so we get the classic Funimation logo. I see that.
Bro, every time I see that shit, any references to old classic shit, I be like, whoa, shit.
And we get our nice little intro here telling us about the school and everything else that's going on. How they got to get these bad souls to keep balance.
Yep, sound and soul and sound weapon connected.
Yep. How bad souls turn to Kishins and all kinds of other madness.
Yep. And it's and I think that was it's Maki's voice that was giving us the narration to it, and then right after that we are then narrated by we're welcomed in by the Death Academy, the DWMA.
Yeah,
and this is all chatted up by Death himself, the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I was like, for Billy and Mandy, I was like, oh, action, bro.
Listen, this was the perfect timing, because you could this was a time where you could have had a comparison, because the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy was going on at the time, and then this anime was around, and those kind of inferences, there was mad kind of meme. There would have been a Western animation, and it would be a picture of Grim, and then there would be a side by side with anime, and this is how we do anime, and it's so funny because they're both silly characters.
Yep, for real.
Yeah.
So then we get our intro.
Yes, which I mean, what's your take on it before I say anything?
I liked it. I was like, okay, I'm here for it.
So this is an iconic theme blaster now. It's this one's one that they play at all the anime clubs when it goes down and shit like that. This is absolutely a certified banger, in the club, out the club, anything. It's one of those ones for sure, and it explains the human to human weapon connections and everything. It's just it's a banger for sure.
For real. I liked it. I was like, okay, I'm here for it.
Oh yeah.
I saw some characters like that little white thing with the long nose. I always wondered where that thing came from.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen it in memes, but I never knew where it came from.
Listen, man, that one is something else, and his portrayal in the anime is great to his characterization, but once again, it's another one. It's another one of those characters that doesn't get to be even done as much justice as he is done in the manga as well.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely. He is an iconic character for the anime in general, and he is top quality meme material. But if you watch the anime only, you will not get the full brunt of how important that character is, like in the manga as well. He is a top tier character in the manga.
Yeah, because I've definitely seen the memes over here, and I just never looked into what it related to.
Oh, definitely. When you watch Soul Eater, you're gonna find out why it's definitely known as a starter anime, because there's so much iconic thing coming out of it.
Yep. So after we get into our intro, we open back up on a woman getting attacked and killed in the streets by a Kishin, and their soul is eaten. So Kishin is one of those demons that they explained along the way. Already off the bat, this anime is not the cleanest thing, because the way how that Kishin was crushing through motherfuckers and the blood was spatter, you was like, oh wait, this is one of those things that if a kid walked into it officially, they would be like, what's going on here?
This ain't a kid shit at all. Niggas, it's just like that first episode of Bleach where you don't expect that shit to get as bloody as it got.
Real true.
Yeah, when Ichigo got that first bite and that nigga was leaking.
Ooh. Yeah,
that shit was crazy. So the Kishin is walking around and they see another and chases them. But before they can finish, we get an introduction to Maka and her weapon Soul, who's her partner and also /weapon and stuff like that. So Soul out here pulls up on it, and Soul turns into Maka's scythe, and the team forms to do some damage.
Right. So you got this Kishin talking about more power, but we do find out this Kishin is actually Jack the Ripper.
Yep. And I was like, all right, yeah, I like the stuff that they take the real life stuff, because I mean, the motifs of him chasing down, especially the women and stuff like that. And the way how it looked back alley, like it was like the underbelly of London, which I mean, shout outs to how we went through the horror thing of London and Jack the Ripper and his history and shit like that. Which,
yes, we did.
I mean, they
brought back flashbacks.
They set this up perfectly and stuff like that. Where when they said it, it was like, oh yeah, of course that is Jack the Ripper.
And I was like, okay, all right.
And I said the soundtrack was going off when they was unleashing them combos.
Yeah, and Maki was like, yeah, listen, bro, you gotta go.
Yep, and they tore that muff up.
Woo!
So they aimed for. So this was their 99th soul, and they explained that they're trying to collect all these souls and stuff like that. They need this. They need to collect 99 souls, and their big 100 soul has to be a witch's soul for soul to turn into a death sight weapon. So that's like when you take your human weapon and it turns into an ultimate weapon and stuff like that. So this is needed for them to transform.
Yep. So after they took out Jack the Kishin, they contacted Death.
Yep.
And Death was not telling them the whole thing. He's like, yo, we've got 99 soul.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, you need to get the witches. You need to now get the witch soul. He's like, yo, be careful, because
if you fuck up on this shit, you lose all them shits.
Lose all 99.
Man, talk about that shit. That is stressful as hell. Imagine going so far to collect 99 souls of motherfuckers, and then you run into one witch and they fumble that whole shit. You got to collect all them shits again. That's crazy.
Yep.
Imagine a game where you level up all the way to like the highest level, and then you get one shot at the final boss. You get to the final boss, and if he crushes, go all the way back to level 1.
Woo, I
would throw that. I would instantly return that game. I cannot do that. One shot at the final boss, and that nigga crushes you, you go back to level 1. Insane,
right? For real. And then so as they're talking to Death, we actually got intro to Mock Ops.
Yeah. Ain't shit kind of nigga. Manga, anime, don't matter. That nigga ain't shit at top level. That man loves his daughter, and he's a lot of freaky about it, because man, he was pressing Soul all types of shit. He was like, don't you be eyeballing my little girl like that. But his daughter don't fuck with him at all. There's a top reason behind it. She definitely don't fuck with her pop. She think that nigga type dirtbag.
Yeah, she do, for real.
Nope, don't fuck with that pops at all.
Yeah, that Death tied his hands too. Yeah.
Death was like, yo, you acting up too much, bro. He gave him that Grim Reaper chop.
Yeah.
Getting that big chopper. He was like, you gonna act up, you gonna get this death chop, buddy.
Like, yeah, you are annoying.
Oh, big time.
I was like, bro,
big time. That nigga something else. So after Death chops him, we get the title screen, and then after the title screen, we open back up on our introduction to the witch, known as Blair Witch. Ba-ding.
Right. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I like all the shout outs, all the connections. They were like, man, if we trying to put this anime out to the public, and man, we trying to represent.
Yeah, for real. And so we see go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say, we get our intro to the witch named Blair, but she's like taking a shower, so we're like instantly in the fan service mode on this.
Oh yeah, and her house is a pumpkin and all this good stuff.
Yep, all kinds of witch Halloween themes going down. So Soul is all about being manly and not discreet at all, and he pops up on Blair, but he falls into the shower and flatlines into some titties.
Yeah. I'm just like, he trying to play it off. He's like, he's like, yeah, I used to see it. And she's like, blood coming out of your nose for it. I'm like, yo.
You know what this remind me of? This remind me of Akami got killed, foiled by the titties again. Foiled by the titties again.
Oh man, I was just like,
Maka was already sick of his shit, reprimanded him for it. She was like, man, come on.
Right, it's like, you acting like my pop. Stop.
Yeah. So they ready to fight, but Blair folds up Soul by being naked.
Yep.
He folded 3 ways to Sunday, man. He can't handle nothing going on right now.
Folded like a piece of origami paper. Listen.
Facts. Absolutely. So Maka was sick of his shit. She was grabbing her up. She tried to turn Soul into a scythe and
like, transform, mofo.
Yeah, yo, you doing too much. You're doing too much. And then she turns him into a scythe and goes after Blair, now fully transformed.
This is all going on in her bathroom.
Listen, but like, she was definitely a formidable foe, because right after she was like, all right, I'm gonna quit playing around with y'all, and she fires a giant ass blast at them and sends them out of them
flying like Team Rocket. I'm like,
yeah, So we go off to Maka's father, I mean, he's a death site, so he's officially one of those rare human hybrids and stuff like that. And he a player. We see that nigga in the club with two ladies talk about how he lost his wife because of his cheating ways and shit like that. He can't give up the hoe. Can never give up the hoe. That man. He said, in my life, it's the hoes and then my daughter and then whoever else, maybe my wife.
And the two ladies just gossiping. I'm like, how? All this information.
Yeah, they was like, yo, we heard that nigga a dirtbag. It's like, I'm right here, miss.
Right?
Are you trying to get a tip or what?
And as they're explaining everything, I'm just like, bro.
Yeah, talk about having these sex workers being your exposition. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But it triggers him, and he hates his daughter. He hates that his daughter hates him so much.
And then the girl's like, please come again. I was like,
oh hell yeah. They was like, you already charged the car, baby. Get the fuck about it.
So then we go next scene. We got it goes like the next day. So they're trying to get Blerd the Witch again.
Yeah, they try again. They get folded again and again and again. This nigga get beaten by a hug. The next day she blasts them. The next day we're in the middle of the battle between Maka and Soul, and they arguing and Blerd trying to snatch Soul up.
Yeah, for real. I'm just like, wow.
And I was like, at this point now, Blerd not playing with the powers. Shit going off. Soul gives Maka the quiet treatment while she's trying to talk to him.
Yeah, for real. Why you ain't answering me, bro?
And then in the midst of this going down, her father watching what's going down as the death site, and he gets the news of the witch fight, and he's like, nah, I gotta help my daughter. I'm sick of this. I'm going there right now to go help my daughter. And Lord Death said, nah, you ain't going nowhere, buddy.
Like he's like, you know what this is. What are you doing?
Yeah, you know what she got to do.
You know we can destroy that thing in a snap of a finger. The same for you.
Don't play around before you get chopped again.
All right. Like,
yep. So they watching as Maka get overwhelmed.
Right. And Maka was just like, and so get knocked off a building, so drops her. I'm like,
she getting fucked up. And then in the midst of that, when she tries to uphold anything and stuff like that, she tries to talk to Soul, but Soul turns around and ends up betraying Maka.
Yeah.
He said, I want to be with a real woman. I want to be with Blerd because of her body.
And boy, she was ready to go off.
He said, this is a real woman. And I'm trying to be with a real woman here. And her father, a shit nigga, showing the same vibes too. He was like, man, I ain't mad at Soul though. I ain't mad at Soul though.
I hate all you men. You no good piece.
Triggers Maka's hate for all men. Flashbacks on her bad vibes with her father and how that shit went down and how she lived with her mama and shit like that. Like a whole bunch of sad shit. Explains why she got that vendetta on her ancient daddy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's starting to. I was like, oh, this makes sense now. I was like, I wonder why. At first, I was like, dang, she really don't like her daddy. He do. And I was like,
yep. They was like question and answer this very episode because he out here with the sex workers and that flashback and all this other shit. Like she was like, yeah, this is why I can't trust y'all men.
Yeah,
and she got a reason for that. So instantly there was like they played it up real well until Soul was good enough right beside Blerd, and they pull up the double team because it was a double agent type shit. So Soul plays and they sneaked up behind Blerd, wonderful tech, and they sneaked her. And they violated her and they took her out. So they prepare to eat the soul, but soul ends up eating it and powers up. But shenanigans happens because they find out that Blerd was actually not a witch, but a cat with a whole bunch of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And they realize the last soul was compromised. So all their souls go back. So they go all the way to zero. Nigga, I would have been I would have had to give hands to that cat again.
Listen, I'm taking the rest of the 8 lives because
yeah, they said this kitty got 9 souls, so they stuck with him.
I was like, no,
nigga. When I tell you to start off with this kind of level of frustration, I was like, man, I hate this shit.
Listen, imagine you getting to level 99.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, imagine what makes this even worse is imagine you go to level 99 and you fight somebody that you think is the final boss and you defeat them only to find out that was a decoy boss, and because you fell into this trap You go all the way back to the beginning again.
Boy, I would be heated.
That game is never getting played again.
Delete. That game is
delete.
The game's getting flung. If it's physical, it's going in the garbage. I'm like,
what a waste of fucking time. Absolutely not. So they got to keep on trucking. And then they give us...
That's something they would do. I bet you that would be a Nintendo game for the NES.
Oh my God.
They do it.
Yo, if it was... Or maybe it was one of the classic Disney games that was harder than Sin.
Lion King. Look at you,
Aladdin.
Looking at you too.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Any one of them crazy ass motherfuckers. Yeah, I could definitely see them. You get to Jafar and you get to challenge him one time before you get all the way to the beginning of the fucking game again. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you talk about game over. Oh, woohoo, bring back flashbacks.
You fight Scar and you end up on that Pride Rock and that nigga toss you over all the way back to level 1. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on the episode, it clears us up with the gives us a preview. They said the next up is the Black Star, the ninja, and Tsubaki, his weapon. He is ready to strike. And the episode ends off with that preview. I said the ending theme is pretty peaceful, into some rock music. Like it sounds like some like Naruto vibes.
Yeah, it's just a nice, relaxing, chill. Yeah. And I think because of how the episode ended, it's like, oh, we gotta start over.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I like the preview.
I need some good music.
Definitely. And the preview and info breaking the fourth wall and stuff like that. That all ends out the episode. So what's your final impressions on the first episode?
I enjoyed this episode. I felt bad. I was like, man, they gotta start over. I'll be tight. Mm-hmm. Me and Def will have to have some words.
Oh, facts. This whole who made up these rules, man? Right? That's some bullshit. You telling me that because I ate a cat soul, I gotta lose all this shit? So I didn't get my ass whooped. I just ate the wrong soul and it got rid of everything. Like what? Who wrote that in the budget, man?
Yeah, well, he's not. Where these 99 souls went?
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
Right?
They going back to the Kishin? Do we have 99 more Kishin to fight again?
Hey, that's what I'm trying to figure out at this point. I'm like, bro,
shit a mess. So I said action still slaps, fan service, but with an ideal purpose this episode, but great layout of the world and what's going on. Def would continue for sure. And on that note, we could start episode 2. I am the star. The big man is showing up here. The big man,
bro.
Yep. Let's go into it. So we got the same logo, same intro from Maka. Welcome to again, explain the DWMA again. Everything, same opening, still fire. Title screen and stuff like that. So here we go into the episode. We open on Black Star preparing with Tsubaki.
Yeah, right. I'm like, wow.
I said they about to go out to they about to go after the tribal chief, the head of the table, the big gangster.
Why you saying that?
Because, was that man not at the head of the table?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
So Solo Sokola looking
he was going after the tribal chief, the head of the table, big gangster. Pretty much you could define this as this nigga was going after Roman Reigns and Solo Sokola anyway, so yeah.
Boy, and he was talking his shit.
Oh boy, welcome to Black Star. Boy, when I tell you gonna run into a motherfucker that talk shit, this is the one. This is that nigga. Yeah. This is the big guy, the big man. He in the house, baby. Yeah, so it's Black Star versus 100 motherfuckers.
And I'm just like, what?
And he is one of those ninjas. He gives off early Naruto vibe to a fault. Cause this nigga pulled up in there like, oh, I ain't got no stealth, bro. Believe this shit. I'ma run this shit. Fuck all you niggas. I'm gonna shut y'all all down right now.
Like, definitely a loudmouth. I was like, oh, okay, you want to.
Oh, loudmouth, big cocky, big energy. You already know, baby.
Right? And he got Tsubaki with him. Hey, Tsubaki's on nigga. I'm like, you talking all that? I'm like, oh, this is my first impression. I'm like, okay, bro.
Tsubaki stressed. You trying to teach him to be a top assassin. And yeah, man. Yeah, nah, bro. Cause she going through the rules and all this shit about jumping into a fight. And he was like, fuck that. I give away the location.
He ain't listening to none.
Yeah, he said, fuck all that. He said, fuck all that. He says his name is Black Star, his plan, and all that shit. That young Naruto vibe is definitely vibing.
Yeah, he's like, you definitely better believe it. I'm like, oh, buddy, I see you.
So Tsubaki transformed back, and they get a shot. They get shot at instantly.
Of course.
And they was like, they smoke bomb the room, and they get ready to run.
Right? I'm like, yeah, listen. You do what you gotta do with them. I would have shot you too. Took all that
definitely.
stuff.
Doing all that bullshit. And then we find out that the gangster he pulling off is Al Capone.
Al Capone. And I was like,
Jesus.
it looked like Al Capone. I'm like, oh, okay.
Messy as hell. And then he just got information that he found the location of where the witch is.
Woo, bro.
Shit crazy. So Black Star is cocky and confident about him being a big man. He the big man, baby.
Can we just talk about a second for how casually Al Capone was just sitting there eating souls?
Oh, I mean, this is his demon realm self. So I guess that's just I mean, he's trying to be big man.
Meatballs. And I'm just like,
yeah, man.
And like you said, some Black Star just popped up on the table like, yo, listen.
He said it is what it is. Y'all about to deal with the big man.
Okay.
Tsubaki is very unimpressed by Black Star and his cocky ass attitude.
Oh yeah, she's like, I don't know why y'all set me up with this mo.
Yep, but they know their target. They after Capone.
Yep. So get up out for the lad. Oh yeah, we gotta put the lad.
So after dealing with the situation of Capone and after everybody leaves and stuff like that, we flash forward to Soul and Maka meeting up with Black Star and they clown him for his failure.
Yo, oh boy, yo. Tsubaki was clowning him from the jump.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, at the same time, Soul and Maka just came back from their big failing out of that because they got to start from scratch. So I mean, they clown him, but I mean, they feeling that shit too, though.
They clown him because they feeling the type of way, right? Because then he asked, like, "What about you two?" And they're like, "Don't ask."
Exactly.
Don't ask.
Shit, ask no tell right there. Hey,
like
so
listen,
Black.
Ain't having a good day either, bro.
Yep. And it's gonna get worse because Black Star and Tsubaki got called into Lord Death's office.
Y'all in trouble.
And this nigga Black Star, Big Coffee, the big man, he giving out his autograph and gets chopped. He said, "I know what you want. One of the autographs from the future GOAT. Here you go, man."
Yo, when he
get all that bullshit.
Yo, Death was so annoying. Yo, he was just like
the Grim Reaper, like, "I'm old, I'm tired, and I work with children."
Right?
Shit, a whole mess. So Death goes on to explain that they're after a witch named Angela, which could be an issue with Capone.
Yep.
So Black Star leaves before they get the info on the witch because, you know, his overconfident ass gonna run into the fight regardless.
Of course, basically, Grim was saying, like, listen, I Capone get a hold of this witch, so it's gonna be a problem.
Oh, it's gonna be a mess because that'll make him super powerful and shit like that. That'll give him death weapon status, and we're not trying to have all that.
Like, Death, like, listen, that means I'm gonna have to go outside, and I don't want to go out.
Oh yeah, y'all don't want me to leave this sanctuary.
Right? He's like, I'm going to go outside.
You want me to hand out some chops? Because if I hand out some chops, no worry where that chop could head.
He's like, if I go outside, it's gonna be a problem.
So we flash into Soul and Maka talking about Black Star and Tsubaka's relationship, team style, how they like to deal with shit. And Soul and Maka goes out to continue their work and start from scratch all over again.
Yeah, because like Soul was saying, he's like Maka's a dumbass, but he got hurt.
Yep. So we flash forward to Capone, where he found the location of Angela, and the team arrives at the door. But there's a samurai at the door.
It's the Guardian talking.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he warned that Death had warned that there was a guardian over there for the witch.
You know who Black Star reminds me of?
Who?
Sora, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. He's definitely a mixture of like young Naruto, a mixture of definitely Sora, a whole bunch of things that make up old big cocky over here.
Yo, I do have a question. What's with the weird sun and moon?
Oh, that's bro.
Okay, that's something that has some
it's a gigantic plot point. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's a major plot point in the anime, and it's a huge plot point in the manga.
Okay.
It's one of those things that this is why people asked for so long for there to be a Brotherhood version of this. They could honestly, we waited so long. I feel like they should do a reboot in this generation now. It's so perfect. This is one of those that should get an actual reboot.
Because like I said, I noticed the creepy moon in the last episode. Then I see this creepy sun, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, it's iconic. Those things are iconic for sure.
I'm like, what's going on here? Because why are you smiling so heavy? What is going on here? I don't like it. It's creeping me out.
There's absolutely a reason behind it, man. Definitely for sure.
That's good to know because I was like,
oh yeah, no, it's things ain't happen for a reason, buddy. It's definitely something for sure. But yeah, so in the midst of all the shit happening with Capone and the Guardian, Black Star and Tsubaki split after an argument for a bit where Tsubaki ain't showing that she's trusting in Black Star that he gonna be the big man on campus out here. They're gonna be the greatest that ever lived, baby.
So right, he goes out on his own.
Yep, and they split for a bit, but Black Star is talking all that shit about finding information and stuff like that. He sees Tsubaki in the shower, but she throws a star at him in the head.
Yo.
That shit was pinpoint accuracy. That shit was hilarious.
She was like, listen, you're not about to Blair Witch me. Listen, you're not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Some niggas already been trapped by the titties already, man.
Right? We're not doing that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like you said, pinpoint accuracy.
Oh, yeah. She caught him in the middle of the head. That shit started busting. Yep, right? For sure.
And the irritation on her face, she was like,
oh, big sick. She out here thinking she a fucking babysitter pretty much.
Right?
Yeah, so they come, so they end up coming together and they got no plan to be on the attack for Angela and stuff like that. So they end up pulling up to the location and they show up and all the souls are left. You're like, what the fuck? What the hell happened to everybody? It's just a graveyard of souls here. And then out of nowhere, the samurai leaps to attack Black Star.
And while we're getting this, I had this written down in my notes, along with the creepy sun and the creepy moon, these creepy trees with the eyes. Fuck.
Yep. And man, all I can tell you is that it's all for a reason.
Okay, because I was starting to start noting down the weird and creepy shit as it hit.
Oh, agreed. I mean, in an anime that's already showed you off Blair Witch Project, Al Capone, and Jack the Ripper, they was definitely going for a weird kind of vibe here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on to the Guardian. His name is Mifune. He's the guardian of Angela, and he slaughtered all the gangsters.
Yeah,
so all the souls around
from
all them 100 niggas got dropped. Capone too somewhere.
Yeah, because we see a cigar. I was like, oh
damn, son, this nigga slaughtered everybody and Capone in that short amount of time. God damn.
Yeah,
but this doesn't discourage Blackfire. Black Star, he's ready to fight.
No,
and Mifune, definitely, and smoke is coming because Mifune uses the infinite sword attack.
Listen, I already saw when that dude dropped down, it was gonna be a problem.
Oh, 100%. The way how the nigga was sleeping and the way he woke up, you already knew. Oh shit, you done woke up a messed up motherfucker here.
Yeah, I was. Oh boy, I was like, Black Star, you sure about this? Tsubaki was like,
I mean, the way how he was talking, I was like, I don't know, I don't got no confidence in you. You probably about to get munched, little nigga.
Right? I'm like, let's see about to slap the round. Don't do it.
And the way how his technique worked, this gave me absolute Bleach vibes because he was losing swords and teleporting towards each soul and shit and sword and shit like that. Like this shit was his Bankai.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, this dude ain't nothing.
Oh hell no. But Black Star only sees himself as the big man.
And he got big clip.
Man, he turned Tsubaki into a shuriken star, and he had the smoke bomb mode next. He ain't quiet, so he get hit and knocked by Mifune.
And I'm just like, whoo.
Black Star gets up with Tsubaki's concern and shit like that. He was getting boxed around.
Yeah, because listen, Swaggy, like I'm trying to help you, but listen, bro, this guy is not.
He not a game man,
right?
Because Mifune says Black Star is wasting his weapon's time, but she defends him.
Actually, Swaggy is doing. And she's like, "You idiot! Why you don't learn to be quiet?"
She baltering him shit and everything, but after she defends him, Tsubaki goes into Ninja Blade mode, and that's when I said, "Yo, there's peak parts of these episodes where the soundtrack just be going off, and the soundtrack was going off here." Where Black Star started studying, man, his eyes got crazy. His eyes start to get to moving, and Mifune Def got shook by his change. He was like, "Wait, nah, this don't feel like the same nigga I was just fighting a second ago."
Right, something happened. I was, oh my goodness, okay.
You start to see something in the little nigga.
I'm like, oh, you about to turn up? I'm like, oh, okay. Yep. So he just needed to get smacked around a little bit, huh?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Maybe that bleeding your own blood will kick into some shit.
Yeah, right. So his own blood, just like, wow. Oh,
yeah.
Like you really made me?
Oh, definitely. He said you made the big man bleed. Oh, not today.
Oh, you made anybody around to see? Oh,
embarrassing me, man.
Right.
So
you make me look bad in front of Tsubaki. Oh, let's
there you go. There you go. Can't embarrass me. Not in front of my fucking weapon. Come on, bro. So he hit him with the Shadow Star technique, and Black Star hit him with the Shockwave. That nigga hit him with that 1-2. Bam! This is probably where they got the Black Flash from.
See that? And I'm just like, okay, I'm like, okay, you kind of starting to redeem yourself, little big motherfucker.
Yep, how the motherfucker big shook because Black Star has defeated Mifune, and then right before he enters the what looks like the killing blow, Angela shows up to protect them.
Like, come on, Angela.
Angela coming down and as a big old witch guardian stuff like that. She said, Mifune, you can't beat up Mifune. He's my Mifune. Yeah, so she big on defense.
Yep, she's like, why are you beating up on my guy? Oh,
So Tsubaki says to strike her down, and Black Star will get the favor that he needs and finally get the witch. So he could turn his weapon into the ultimate jet weapon. But he was like, nah, I don't want to do it. He said he can't bring himself to do it, as Mifune was ready to sacrifice himself for Angela. And he was like, man, there ain't no honor in that. Fuck all that.
Right? He's like, nah, this ain't big man stuff. This little stuff.
Yeah. He said this ain't some big man materials. This is a little dick energy, bro. This ain't big dick energy, bro. Like this ain't nothing. I'm go.
She's like, listen, bro. She's like, listen, we got all 99 souls here plus the witch. You mean?
He said, I'll get it on another way. I'll figure it out.
He's like, I can't take out this witch. He was like, man, this ain't even fair.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna have to cut through a nigga to get to that. Like, man, fuck y'all. Enjoy your day.
Right? You're not gonna be having me looking like some clown talking about how you got this 99 souls. Like, yeah, I just picked up the 99 and just beat up this dude and then slice the little kid witch. I'm like, he's like, nah, this ain't big man stuff. This ain't no adventure story I can tell nobody.
Absolutely, it's a big. So Black Star. So we go later on, but Black Star runs into Tsubaki in the shower again and gets blasted one more time.
Yeah, right. And then mind you, all this time Grim was watching.
Oh, definitely. Shit's a mess. Shit is a mess indeed. So we get another preview and stuff like that for Death the Kid, and he gets previewed perfectly with his pistols and stuff like that in perfect symmetry. So his obsession with perfection is his weakness. And then the ending theme plays again, same vibes. And we got more breaking of the fourth wall with Black Star this time. So what is your final impressions on this episode and the show so far?
I'm liking what I see so far from the show. I'm liking the character so far. The Grim Reaper's cracking me up because I know he got to be just like...
Oh, he got jokes for days. This is one for sure. I'll recommend watching the anime if you want to. It'll have an anime exclusive only ending that'll be way different from the manga. And then because my vibe is I watched Soul Eater to the end, and then after that I went over to the manga. Because it feels like there's one part that deviates where you could just hop into it, and then from that point on, there's a huge shift that happens in that manga that'll change the way you look at every character in this better. So
I'm expecting some crazy team ups here because just what I'm seeing so far.
I will absolutely recommend the manga after you finish the anime for sure to get a full view and outlook on it, because there's two different camps for this show for sure.
Okay, all right.
Yep, but yeah. So you enjoyed today's episode?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. All right, good. I said my final impressions is great episode dealing on showing us much on Black Star's personality and shortcomings of what makes him both really strong and a good test of character all in one go. Approve the series. Def would continue to see the next character and everything that's going on further. It's showing these people in a certain kind of light that leaves way for growth and other things to happen for sure in this series.
So I guess I'm watching just to find out more. Cause like, what happens when you become a Death Site? It's like,
I would definitely, man.
Yeah, cause I'm like, what? Do you just go away? It's like go chill with Death up there. I'm like,
oh, there you go. I guess that's questions to be answered with that. Yep. So we are closing the book on Soul Eater for this week, and great stuff. We definitely recommend 2 thumbs up for sure, and closing the book off that. So yeah, we got an email set up at blerdbynature@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Blerd By Nature, Twitter/X at Blerd By Nature, nature spelled Nature. Co-host, hit us with the YouTube.
You can find us on YouTube by searching for Blerd By Nature Podcast.
Comment all around. Send us thoughts and reactions to anything going down in the community. If you want to reach us, you can reach us at all the spots that we said earlier. We are available again on all podcast platforms all around and stuff like that. Currently out as we are recording this, our last uploaded episode is our Pop-Up Girls episode with Erica. Shout outs to that. That was super fun. Hell of a debate coming out of that for sure. Great times, great chat.
PPG emergency.
Oh, absolutely for sure. So any final notes before I hit the outro, co-host?
Take us home.
All right, off the big man, the big guy style. Let's do it in honor of the big guy. Thanks for joining us today from Black Thought to Nerd Power. This is Nicholas, Mr. Go With The Flow.
And this is the man with the plan, Maurice.
Yeah, this was another edition of the Blerd By Nature Podcast.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Until next time, peace.
Big guy.